My name's Lalli, and I'm an animator here at Offset, currently the only animator. I joined the team about 2 years ago, out of pretty much out of school, but I had heard about the project on the internet and stuff, and I heard that they were hiring, so I just sent in a demo reel. Thought, why not? It sounds like a pretty awesome thing to work on, and they liked my stuff, so I've been here pretty much since then. To the Academy of Art in San Francisco and got a bachelor's degree in 3D animation, character animation, and I've done some kind of freelance work on some indie games and stuff. But this is pretty much my first big AAA type project. Well, I've always loved drawing and creating characters and stuff, and I've always loved games, so it was just kind of a no-brainer that if I could do something that I love doing as a living, then that sounded pretty awesome to me. So animation specifically, it was mostly started out with me drawing characters and stuff, and then the idea of bringing them to life was really appealing. And when I went to school, I kind of transitioned to 3D, to the computer, just because that's where all the jobs were, and that's where the industry was heading. Yeah, things have come a long way in the last few years. Just animation has gotten much more complicated. There's a lot of mocap in games these days, motion capture, where an actor will wear a suit and just act things out, and it captures the movement there, and then usually an animator just has to clean up all that data. We don't use motion capture here. It has its uses, but it doesn't solve a lot of problems, especially with creatures and things other than humans. But I'd say one big advancement is like physics-based animation, things like procedural animation like Euphoria and Endorphin, where it's a program written to have a character actually think and behave realistically, and a lot of the animation is kind of for free. Like it'll like Force Unleashed and Grand Theft Auto use it. It's kind of like a way, if you do canned animations, if animator animates everything, it has very specific uses, because you can't always predict what the player's going to do or where a character is going to be when an animation is played. But this physics-based animation will know if, say, there's an object next to the character that it bumps into, his arm will hit it maybe, and he'll react realistically in that way. So that's kind of a promising new development that is going to make games a lot more believable. Anytime there's a performance increase, it helps me a lot, because I can, in the program, just press play and see my animation play back in real time. And even just like a few years ago, if you had a character that was complicated, you couldn't do that. If you press play, it would kind of chug. You wouldn't see it in real time. You'd get just like choppiness. So you'd have to export out a video to see how your animation looked in real time. But now, like, pretty much here, I mean, with the computers we use and stuff, I can almost always just hit play and see what my animation looked like, and I don't have to waste the time to create a video to see what it looks like in real time. There's kind of two sides to making the character work in the game. There's the visual, the animation, the actual animation, and then there's how that animation fits together to become a character and how the character behaves. And those are kind of two separate aspects. There's the Maya file, and then there's another file we call the anim graph, which is basically just a tree of all the different states that a character can be in and how the states relate to one another. And each one of those states would probably correspond to an animation, like a run. The run state would have running forward, maybe running back, running left, running right, and then that would maybe blend to the walk state. If the character slows down, it would go to the walk animations. And that's all set up in pretty much like a text file, but it says what states you can go to from any certain state, how it transitions, how long it takes, things like that. And that's also the responsibility of the animator. The offset editor is a big part of how I fit animation together into a character. You have a character file that you load all the animations you do inside the engine, inside the editor, and it'll show you, there'll be a window that'll show the character performing each animation as you click on it. Just a big list of animations. And then you name them and you could set frame ranges, whether or not the animation loops, etc. And then using the anim graph, you tie all those together. Also in the engine, working with those files. So that's where the character really comes together, is inside the engine, where you assign the animations to the character into the different states. I think that dragons are really difficult just because there's so many controls to worry about. There's huge tails, long neck, wings, multiple, they walk on however it's designed, but it's just a complicated thing to animate, and you have to have it feel heavy and menacing, and there's just so much going on that it can be, I find that like a difficult thing to animate. But one of the hardest things to animate is actually realistic humans, I think, personally, because there's a lot of subtle movement going on that you don't ever think about until you try to figure out how things are working. And everyone knows exactly how a human should move, and they know exactly when something's wrong. And if you don't get it just right, people think it looks weird. But no one's gonna say like, oh, that gigantic tortoise spider wouldn't move like that. They don't know what that thing moves like, so you can kind of just get crazy with that. But humans, that's why mocap is so useful in capturing a believable human movement, because it's just what they're actually doing. My favorite games, they'll probably all have good animation. I'd say like Shadow of the Colossus is one of them. I'm a big Resident Evil fan. I loved Resident Evil 4. Huge Street Fighter fan. Third Strike and Street Fighter 4. Awesome animation in those. Tons of games. I don't know. Those are my top 3 probably. I'm Chris Lalli. Thanks for listening to me ramble. And if you'd like to find out more about Project Offset, visit our website, www.projectoffset.com.